In recent decades, several events have occurred and have shaped the world we live in today. From wars, rising birth rate and spread of deadly diseases, humanity has faced it all. However, some of these events are not always discovered until someone does. The anonymous activist movement, known primarily for its various cyber attacks against various government agencies, detected an anomaly and announced to people in the United States that something had been released in their environment. But what has been released in the United States, and how will it affect our lives? Thanks to this secret organization, Anonymous, both residents of Florida and the United States in general learned of a covert operation that began years ago without anyone knowing. This operation had already begun to alter the American environment. The state of Florida has had a high history of mosquito-borne illnesses in recent years. These diseases have several variations, such as yellow fever, dengue, Zika and chikungunya, transmitted mainly by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, also known as the dengue mosquito. These diseases have caused various damages to humans and our environment. Fortunately, a biotech company has developed a smart technology. A swarm of genetically modified mosquitoes released to limit the damage caused by these insects. A genetically modified mosquito is similar to a normal mosquito but has a different purpose. Think of these unique species as a disturbance used to control the massive population of insects disturbing the environment, and the evolution of mosquitoes immune to insecticides. The biotechnology company behind this great innovation is Oxitec, which has had great success with the project. Its track record of testing genetically modified mosquitoes in several countries has been a great asset to the world. Their team works around the clock to produce anti-mosquito solutions and has successfully controlled widespread diseases in Brazil, Panama, the Cayman Islands and Malaysia. The Florida Keys Mosquito Control District approached this British biotechnology company in 2010 to test its technology in the area. Florida had and still has several problems with mosquito-borne diseases. This measure was proposed in 2009 when the state began experiencing cases of locally transmitted dengue and then chikungunya. A few years later, mosquitoes have become resistant to chemical pesticides, which justified calling on Oxitec to resolve mosquito infestation. The biotechnology company adopted a new method of bioengineering pest control. The experiment is carried out by releasing these male mosquitoes, which are mass-produced to provide two types of genes. A self-limiting gene prevents the female mosquito from growing into an adult, and they also carry a fluorescent marker gene that glows under a special red light. This glow allows researchers and scientists to identify bioengineered mosquitoes in nature. When the modified mosquitoes grow to the adult stage, they are released into the environment to encounter female mosquitoes that bite and infect diseases. This mosquito does not bite, so its main goal is to mate with female mosquitoes, passing the genes to their offspring. As the female grows, the genes limit her survival, killing the female in her early stages of birth. However, the male offspring has a different purpose. By sending her offspring, he continues the work by carrying the gene and passing it on to future generations. As the female mosquito continues to die, the mosquito population declines. The goal of this experiment in Florida was to gather more information and reproduce their previous results, just like the one carried out in Brazil. The company recorded a 95% decrease in mosquitoes during a 13-week trial in Brazil. The company planned to implement this experiment again to show U.S. regulators that the technology works. However, some residents living in the Florida Keys disagreed with that idea due to anti-GMO sentiment. They feel that the Oxitec experiment would harm them, and talking about a massive genetic experiment, it sounds like a bad idea to the residents. When some local residents were interviewed about the involvement of biotechnology, they expressed their displeasure towards the company and said that the company believes that they were foolish enough to allow them to conduct such experiments in their areas of residence. They worry that mosquitoes could bite them, causing more health problems and disrupting the community's ecosystem. They are unhappy that their areas of residence were chosen as the test site. and some people threatened to disrupt the progress of the experiment by trading insecticides near the release areas. Release points are where the biotech company places a box of modified mosquitoes before they hatch and releases them into the wild. Oxitec workers say the people threatening to disrupt the company's experiment represent a minority working to distort scientific truth. They gathered more than 200,000 signatures on a petition against the Oxitec project, which includes a letter signed by several local doctors requesting additional testing as a measure of their support to prevent the start of the experiment. Molecular biologist Natalie Koffler, a professor of medicine at Harvard, made a statement about local reactions to the Oxitec experiment, saying, "As you can imagine, emotions run high and there are people who feel strongly for or against it." The biologist has been following the project for years and proposed that residents' concerns could be due to the uncertainty of the new technology. The biotechnology company has been informing people residing in the Florida Keys about every step of its experiment, providing answers to all their questions, even after explaining the slim chances that a female mosquito with a lethal gene has to reproduce. People don't trust what they're hearing because it's coming from a company, Koffler concluded. Despite all the public disputes and disagreements over the Oxitec experiment, with the risks to human health and the environment that the biotech company could unleash in the Florida Keys, the Mosquito Control District approved the Oxitec experiment for its execution in August 2020. The approval includes the release of 750 million genetically modified mosquitoes over 2 years. The mosquitoes were released in Monroe County, Florida, in late April 2021. The project and experiments began by choosing 6 locations in 3 areas of the Florida Keys and placing boxes containing Oxitec mosquito eggs. In those places, the first males emerged in the first 2 weeks of May, and approximately 12,000 male mosquitoes left the boxes each week for 12 weeks. The second phase of the project was carried out later in the year, emerging 20 million mosquitoes over a 16-week period, according to the biotech company. This phase, known as Project B, began on August 9th and the boxes were placed in 6 different areas in the Florida Keys. Although Project B lasted 4 weeks longer than Project A, the release sites produced more than 150,000 male mosquitoes during the 16 weeks. The CEO of Oxitec commented on his company's work, stating that his biotech organization is nothing less than existential for humanity. He said the biotechnology company seeks to develop and provide more technologies that will allow humanity to continue existing on this planet. Insect pests are one of the most significant threats globally, carrying pathogens to regions where they have previously thrived. Circumstances gave more urgency to the development of technologies like Oxitec. In March of this year, the United States Environmental Protection Agency granted an extension of the experimental use permit to continue the pilot project. Following this nationwide approval, the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services also reviewed Oxitec's statewide permit applications. The 2022 project was launched on May 9th and incorporates the placement of mosquito boxes with added water. These boxes were placed on the properties of volunteer residents in 3 release areas on Cayo Vaca. This phase of the project was because the demand for volunteers to participate was so high that there had to be a set number for the project. The CEO was happy with the outcome of events in Florida and expressed his gratitude to the Florida Keys Mosquito Control District and all the communities that have welcomed his company. The third phase of the mosquito project between the Control District and Oxitec began in September. This phase was exceptional, as the pest control technology created by Oxitec is completely harmless to essential insects such as bees and butterflies. It has achieved its goal of controlling diseases spread by the dengue mosquito.